My name is Ben Feldman, and I'm shooting for a book of. This morning I was carrying a screaming toddler for hours on end, trying to get him to relax, sit down, eat, drink, to no avail. And here I am. I had fun. I had an easy childhood. It was like I had divorced parents, so I kind of had two different worlds that I bounced back and forth between every week, and a lot of parents. But they were also left a lot, so I would have a lot of parties. My parents would be out of town, and so my friends started calling me Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because that was the character that was always like, no, don't touch that, no, that's gonna break. And so that was me basically for most of high school. I guess I like acting because I get bored easily, I think, and I think it's a lot of fun to have an excuse to pretend to be other people and to get paid for it for a living is, it's kind of a weird, I feel like I've scammed the system somehow. Like I shouldn't be getting paid to do that, but I do, and I think exploring other people's lives, I think it allows you the opportunity to see the world through a lot of different eyes, and that's a really fun way to go through life, I think. I did not decide to move from New York to LA. I booked a TV show that shot in LA that was about an 18-year-old kid who was the mayor of his own town. And it was on the WB, which was a network once upon a time. And that's what moved me out here. It was great. The cast was like, Lizzie Kaplan was my girlfriend, Anna Kendrick was my little sister. It was like this really cool group of them and some like Broadway actors. So that's what moved me out here. And then it got canceled after we shot 2 episodes. I think studying theater and being in theater in general taught me, and I imagine a lot of people, how to listen, because when you're doing something live and you can't stop and do it again and there's no editing and whatever, people can call bullshit on you if you're faking it, if you're just waiting for your opportunity to speak. And so I think theater forces you to go out on a stage and really, really pay attention and lock in with the person that you're acting opposite. And I think ultimately acting is, the difference between a good actor and a bad actor is a good actor listens. Yes, I am constantly begging my representatives to find me theater. It's hard because, when you're doing a TV show, you get like a little tiny break and everybody wants to kind of find that movie or whatever to cram in. And not everybody wants to just go to New York and do something for way less money in front of way less people. So it's hard. And it's also hard to find a play that wants me and is also ready to start the second I wrap and then end the second I have to go back to Superstore. But yes, I wanna go back to theater. Mad Men was a lot of fun, and it was different than anything else that I've ever done, I think. The cast was great. The cast was both Johns, everybody. It was really funny. Like the show, I think the one thing that people don't... true fans know that it was funny, but like, not as funny as it... Like when we did table reads, it read like a sitcom, and people just laughed the entire time. And the whole cast was really, really intelligent, intimidatingly smart, funny people. So it was really, really cool. Doing period wasn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel, to me, period, unless you're like doing something that takes place in like Elizabethan times and you're saying all these really weird words and everybody's super different, doing period in the 60s or the 50s it's just different clothes.
or when you first read the script?
I had just gotten done doing a show on NBC that got canceled called A to Z, and it was a comedy, and it was about a guy and a girl and their relationship. The whole thing was basically about them. And so I promised myself when that got canceled, I was like, no way am I doing this again. I'm not doing another sitcom. I'm certainly not going to go back and do a sitcom on that same network. And then Superstore came along. My agent sent me the script and was like, you're gonna be really mad because you're gonna read this and you're gonna love it and want to do it, and I'm so sorry. And she was right. And I say all the time, it was like reading a delicious menu from a restaurant that just gave you food poisoning. It was, but it was like the funniest script I read, and most importantly to me, it was an ensemble. It wasn't about a guy and a girl and their relationship, or it wasn't about this guy, or that, it was about a group of people. It was a community. It was a family, and I just wanted to be on like a team. I think it gets some attention because it reflects in a much more realistic way what the common, regular, modern, working America looks like. We don't go out of our way to be the diverse, or Justin and the producers who created it never set out to create the diverse show. They wanted to create a group of people that look like what a group of people look like in a big box store or anywhere else. And I think while being a diverse cast, and it sucks that you guys get the least diverse person in the cast to talk to about this, and I usually give the floor to someone else when this is asked, when it's like all of us, because I have no right talking about diversity. But I think the diversity itself is not what's compelling about the show, but I do think a wide range of people can watch Superstore and be like, oh, that's me, and recognize themselves or their friends or the kind of people that they know and see on a day-to-day basis in our cast. I did not expect Superstore to last this long, but to be fair, I just didn't expect any show to last this long. I was the most pessimistic, grumpy buzzkill in the entire cast. When we started shooting, everybody was convinced it was going to be a hit show, and everybody was super optimistic, and I was just like the guy who'd been on a bunch of shows, who'd been burned already. It was just like, don't buy your yachts, like we're not going to air. And then we did, and then they're like top comedy, and it's bizarre. But I always knew it was a great show. That's why I wanted to be on it. I always knew it was the kind of show that I think a lot of people could get into. And then somehow I was right, I guess. Or everybody was right. I was probably the least right out of the cast. But it's great. It's a special show, and it's also the cast is an incredible group of people that are just like the best, funniest people I know, and there's no douchebags in the entire, unless it's me, there's no one that everybody secretly hates, which is rare, I think, on a TV show or in any kind of work environment. Directing an episode of Superstore was intimidating to me, because I had never directed before. But it's a pretty well-oiled machine. Everybody's great at their specific jobs. Everybody from, the guy that makes eggs in the morning to the guy in charge of props to the actors and the producers and everybody else. So it makes your job as a director pretty easy. I don't love people talking to me all day long, and that's what happens when you're a director. Somehow it was okay that particular week, and I came home like amped up. I was more excited and it was harder to go to sleep on nights where I was directing and exhausted and doing stuff from the break of dawn all day long. It was more exhausting, I was more amped up coming home from that than I was on a normal day where I just say the same 8 sentences and put on some makeup and then sit in my trailer. So it was exhilarating, but yeah, it's a lot of talking, a lot of answering questions. And that was the production meeting. The production meetings, when you start off to direct a show, it's literally just people being like, blue? Green? Which one? And you're like, green? I don't know. And it's just that, but for a week. It's so funny because I never know, on Mad Men we used to, if I even suggested that I was even going to be in an episode, I was in trouble. So I'm always kind of reluctant to say anything about what's coming up, but Superstore, I feel like there's not really much I can spoil that spoils the show. I don't know. Really funny stuff. There's a lot more. There is. God, what do we do? There's some Me Too-ish kind of stuff, and some healthcare stuff, and some pay the pay gap stuff, and we're still covering a lot of issues, which is what's really fun about the show. I think is that it tackles a lot of the kind of issues that we talk about on a regular basis in America, modern American issues. Socioeconomical issues and race issues and gender issues and stuff like that. But we don't try and cram any ideology down anybody's throats. So a lot of important stuff done in really dumb, silly ways is what you can expect as usual. If I was a book, I would probably be, God, I want to say Goodnight Moon, just because I feel like all I do is read books to try and get my kid to go to sleep, and therefore I'm really sleepy, and there's a lot of pretty colors, and then you get to go to bed fast. Like, that's what kind of book I'd be, a short, colorful bedtime book. I will not embarrass myself and the Filipino culture in general by attempting to do the accent, but I'm coming close to being able to get it because I hear Nico do his mom all the time. I always hear about the baby Jesus. But no, I haven't. The words are, it's hard. Someone close to my wife's family is Filipino, and someone that we work with here is as well. I'm surrounded by them, and then Nico. But the language is difficult and like fast, and there's a lot of what we used to call plosives back in acting school, like B's and D's, like just to me it just sounds like so. No, I wouldn't even begin to attempt. But stay tuned. I'm gonna nail that accent pretty soon.